We are virgins no longer.
So a little fun fact about Greece.
In a boat, we're Americans. We're going to spend money. And at the risk of sounding morbid,
The oldest travel influencers on the podcast scene at some point here. So Chuck and I are happy to take your calls. Well, if I had a secretary, we're separate but equal. Someone has to like me best. Enough money and time, you can do anything you want in this world.
the man, the myth, and legend.
I got a Volvo.
Not a political statement.
Travel like something is potentially going wrong. Extra underwear. You can't wear shorts everywhere.
Chuck decides to move to France.
Well, first of all, let's just say this. Everybody get your passports. Who's coming? I'll fight you.
I'm not trying to be funny. They speak the language.
Today's my last day. We're just going to shut down right here.
We spent 4 days of the cruise in our cabins dying.
And if you're sick, don't travel. Ever handsome, ever friendly, ever wonderful. It's not that I don't like children.
She's very picky about everything but her men.
I do believe I proclaimed for the spirit that day. Because I don't wear pajamas.
And last week on Life in the Baggage Claim.
Okay. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of our listeners, and especially to you who's joining us right now as you check us out here at Life in the Baggage Claim. My name is Jim Hauck. I am one of the co-hosts, and I'm here today with my handsome, esteemed, intelligent, and able to diffuse any problem co-host, Chuck Longerbeam.
Who is also a cruise planner in Charlottesville, Virginia, and evidently Jim missed me.
Not untrue.
Okay. I missed you too, buddy. It was weird not doing this. For those of you joining us, we usually do these once a week, and we tried diligently and desperately to record. Jim was on the Celebrity Beyond last week, and we tried to do it, and Jim and I were laughing about this before. Because of many, many technical issues, his face looked like it was melting, and he was dropping every third word. And we tried for about 5 minutes, and we looked at each other and went, nah. So we're doing it now that he's back, and Jim is going to tell us all about his trip.
And all that, and I wasn't on one of the cruises where your face might melt. So there you go. Jim Hauck here, coming to you live for Life in the Baggage Claim from Celebrity Beyond, cruising around the Bahamas for our 11th episode of Life in the Baggage Claim. Happy you could join us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and all that kind of stuff. And we're really happy you could be here. We see some new folks. We're glad to see new members of our community coming and listening to our podcast. It means the world to us. You may not realize that, but it really does. And when you're here with us and we can have these great conversations with you, it's really rewarding and it means everything. And it really does give us a sense of joy. And we are very proud of building this community. So welcome. So yes, I am back from an amazing week on the Celebrity. So, we have an amazing butler here who takes care of our needs, walks us to dinner, all kinds of fun. And we have had cookies and snacks and breakfast in the room. I think everyone is eating to their joy's content and their tummies are full. A couple of my traveling companions have had a couple things go on. Life isn't always easy. Things come up while you're on a ship, but it's been a good time. Tomorrow I think we're getting to Dominican Republic and then we go to Turks and Caicos. It's been a great experience. I would say that as everyone knows, I'm a big fan of Virgin Cruise Lines, but I will tell you that Celebrity is definitely my next favorite. It's a tight race. The ships are beautiful. The staff is fantastic. The food has been absolutely amazing. You can't complain about the food at all. We had steaks last night, fine cut, that were so good. They were like butter. They melted off your fork and into your mouth. It was so good. We just got back from having lunch at the Rooftop Grill. It's a nice experience outdoors. Not something you see often on cruise ships these days, is the place to sit outdoors and eat that isn't associated with your buffet. So that's kind of been fun. The ship is just magnificently appointed, even for the fact that she's a few years old. She holds 3,700 passengers approximately. It's a little bigger than my favorite size to cruise in, but not a bad choice. She's smooth sailing. You don't feel much. And I'll tell you, for the first couple of days, we didn't really see many people. It's been sort of nice to think that, this big of a ship with this many people and it's quiet. Weather's been warm and humid. We are skirting around Hurricane Erin as she's come through and made her mess in the Bahamas and the Florida Straits and such as we're going through here. So that's kind of impacted us a little bit, but we're loving it. It's been a good time. Beyond, and I was fortunate enough to be invited by one of my clients. So for people who know me and are like, wait, you're not making much money, you're helping you go for a cruise like this. I was a guest, and we had what has to be the penultimate suite on a cruise that size. So you'll pardon our mess, but one of the things about a suite like this on Celebrity is all this extra space. So let me tell you, you find yourself sitting out here more than you think. People probably say, well, why do you need all that? We've had breakfast brought to us in the cabin several times in the suite. There is another bedroom over here, which I'm not going to open. That's where the girls are sleeping. They have a separate bathroom right here. If you look at this, this is our little mini bar area and our bar. Sorry, make sure we edit out the background sounds. We do have a good butler who's taking good care of us, but you can see that's the view of where I was just standing out on that deck. It's quite beautiful, quite lovely, very quiet. We were in the Penthouse suite, and there'll be some footage to show you, but oh my gosh. First of all, when your client walks into a room and says, you've outdone yourself, your heart booms, you smile, and you go, my work here is done.
Right, I win, I'm out.
This house is clean. So, and so I was traveling with one of my best friend, basically, and her sister and niece. So it was an experience. It was a whole different game for me. I usually travel with my best friend. Adding 2 more females to the mix, boy, I can tell you, I don't know how guys do it. If you really, you feel so outnumbered. But they were all just blown away. And you walk into this magnificent room, and the first thing you see is this dining table and a bar and a big L-shaped sofa that is 3 cabins wide. Okay, so if you think about your normal cabin size,
right?
We're the people who said, no, just give us 3 of those, and that's just for sitting and watching,
Oh, wow.
And on either end is a bedroom. So we had them and the guests of Vanessa's in the traditional bedroom-sized cabin that had a really nice bed, and it has its own bathroom and everything. And then we were in the, like what they would call the master, right, the primary, which started with 2 cabins worth of just a bed and a dressing area and closets. That's sort of just an amazing bed. And then a huge, think of a whole cruise cabin as a bathroom. So we had a toilet, a bidet, a huge walk-in shower that you could brought 6 of your best friends into.
I can absolutely imagine that. Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
So, and then, that's just the room. We got in, we're like, okay. But the whole experience of working with Celebrity on that level, we got to the port. There's a whole separate area to go check in, right? Mm-hmm. And as soon as you say you're a suite member, these people whisk you around everything. And we go in this private entrance, and we're literally through the door to the check-in where they just take and do it all. They don't even bring us to a table, offering us food and drink. And then 3 people walked us onto our room. So wow. We're a little paparazzi-ish, Oh, well, they're going to take photos of this. And then we met our butler, which is a whole nother part of the amazingness. And we were in our room already. And it was like we were there and on the ship and aboard within 3 minutes of arriving.
Fantastic.
So, after all the sort of shock and awe, caught up with everybody, and by the way, we had been working with our butler for 3 months before this cruise.
What?
They start getting information about you. They want to know your preferences, your styles, what you want to do, so they can cater to you. At one point, then he needed to know what restaurants we wanted to eat. So he set all of our restaurant reservations up. He made sure the right liquor, beers, water, sodas was in the room all the time. Favorite snacks showed up all day long. Whether we were at work early or late night, people was asked, such as all that stuff they ask you, right, to get to know you.
You know what this trip has done, has taught me is that I need to get a better level of clients. Whoever wanted to book with me, I'm just joking. But if you wanted to do it sweet and include me, I'd be all about it. Yeah.
So, and I'll talk a little bit about pricing in the end, because I think it's worth sharing what this was costing somebody. But so, when we get to meet the boat, he comes in. Within a few more minutes, our luggage arrives, which, that's usually a very quick luck of the draw if you get that.
Oh, absolutely.
We were unpacked quickly and off exploring the ship.
That's fantastic.
Well, we get part of being the Penthouse suite, which is what it's called. We had access to a private dining room for just folks in the retreat class, which is what celebrity calls this section, and we had our own lounge. And so that meant there's a waiter for all of you, like people everywhere ready to take care of you. And you get access to your own deck with 2 hot tubs and loungers and all that. So it's a real, it's the ship in a ship concept that's real big right now. The Celebrity Beyond is beautiful. I'd been on our sister ship, the Apex, for a tour last January. That's when I spotted this suite and said, I think this is what my customer wants. And, but she's a beautiful ship. And it was an amazing, you never felt like you're moving other than maybe one day. But yeah, so that was just day one.
Wow. So let me interject if I might. Now, was this adults only?
No, so Celebrity's family oriented, right? Well, being that they're probably in the premium category, I believe, right? So it tends to lean towards more adults and older. But they do cater to a young adult crowd. And while they don't have the big water parks and stuff like that, they do have kids programs. The young lady traveling with us, the niece of my friend's sister, she's about 16, I think, which is, it's interesting traveling with a 16-year-old. They got a whole different perspective on things, right? And I was learning all the new lingo and language. I think I need my universal translator. There's things I didn't understand. And she's British. So
okay.
On top of it. And
so because we've ascertained in the past how much you love kids. So,
well, she's great. She was really sweet. And to be honest with you, she's very smart. She's very easy to interact with, which is fun. So I appreciate it. She's getting into her adulthood. Right. And she looker. I mean, my God, she would dress up to go out. I'd be like, hey, Vanessa, look at that. I mean, she really knows how to doll herself up, but she's a very pretty girl and she's tall. So she got a lot of attention.
I'm sure.
But she went and found a kids club where the teens meet and then they start their adventures, right? Which is nice. But I would say it's not a Royal Caribbean level family, and that's obviously their parent brand.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, the kids can have fun. And there was the main pool, which we really never went to. There were kids splashing around, but it wasn't bad. And every kid we met, other than the 2 that we watched, breaking Coke cans in the staircase with Coke going everywhere, and then we're ruffling through the hostess stands at the different restaurants. It's like, I'm sorry, I totally Karen'd or whatever. I did a get off my lawn moment where I sent out their picture to the FaceTube group. And I said, these are your 2 little hooligans. You should know they're making a mess everywhere they go. And the people all jumped on it on the Facebook group. Were like, that's not right. And they're not on me, on the kids. So
yeah.
I think people just expect a little better, right? But it was very rare to see any child misbehaving.
Good.
So not exactly family, but family can do it. And the families who are in suites like ours, it was the sort of, Muffy and Biff. That sounds terrible. How do you say that these days? It's just okay, barking. It's just they're there from a higher.
Sure.
They've grown up with money.
Just a better class of people.
Blood butter. Such a cheese. Wow.
I couldn't.
Thanks, Chuck. Set me up and watch me. See, this is the dynamic that really is the deal here.
So you were on day 2?
I like to draw lines. Huh?
I said you're on day 2, my friend.
I like to draw lines and draw some. But Chuck will throw a hole in front of me and make sure I fall in it.
That's why we're good friends.
I did not go camera crazy on this cruise. Sometimes you read the vibe, right? You go, hey, I don't want to take pictures of everything. You don't want to be always running around with this camera.
Well, and there are certain cruise lines, and I won't name them because it's not important, but there are certain cruise lines where you expect everybody to be, and then there are certain, like Virgin's a lot like that, where you'll get people taking discreet, like selfies and like maybe if something, we were on last year, a pod of dolphins went by. We just happened to be out on deck and there was a pod of dolphins and people were snapping pictures. And that's, in my opinion, completely fine. To me, you're a little strange if you don't. I mean, unless you just happen to live somewhere where you see pods of dolphins all the time. But yeah, there's certain cruise lines where people are camera crazy and certain ones where the vibe is just not there. I agree.
Well, and I just read an article this last week while on the ship about the pushback from the younger generations on cameras all the time and things they wish would just stop. It's kind of nice because I think social media built these instruments in us that you must record every visible moment of your life,
right,
for posterity because you're a star in your own story.
I have a good friend who for the longest time took pictures of almost every meal he ate.
Well, there was that going on in my group and I get it. I was sailing with some real foodies who like to
share. Well, no.
But yeah.
I would find it far less strange if you're on a cruise and you're getting all this fabulous food made for you. I'm talking about any restaurant, anything he made at home. And I finally reached out to him one day. I'm like, we really don't need to see everything you eat. And he goes, yes, you do. And I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Whole hashtag called food porn,
Yeah.
There's a hashtag. It's called food porn.
Okay, Jim. I didn't know that.
You ever heard of the food porn thing? It's basically whatever is hot looking food is, it's like any, it was just play. I don't know. I've seen it. I've used it on photos. Let's just move on. As the line has been crossed, the hole has been dug. And once again, I'm finding out. Oh, look at that. There's a horizon. I might get there one day.
Oh, I miss Jim, folks. I miss Jim.
So that segues nicely into the food. And I will say this, I'm a virgin food lover.
Mhm.
You know that I'm highly critical of any cruise line's food. I think one of the things that has been lost over time is the high quality and
Mhm.
great presentation of food.
Agreed.
And I always say when you go on Carnival, you get the same meal in every location. It's just how much sauce they put.
Right. Right. Well, and the big and the old style massive buffets. I mean, those. I'm not talking about. I went on a when you and I were at Star U. Okay, when you and I were at Star U, I toured a Holland America boat, and I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to kick myself. I'll remember it later.
New Amsterdam? Was it New Amsterdam going on?
Might have been the New. Yes, it was. Thank you. It was in New Amsterdam, and it was gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants
that
to go on it.
to the Queen Anne for Canard fans. So.
Yes, and just they showed us the suites, they showed us all. Anyway, beautiful. But the dining area is a buffet, but like so high end, and it didn't feel like I had been on ships, and I won't mention any cruise lines where the buffet just feels like cattle trough. It's just as much food as they can put out there, and chicken fingers and stuff like that. And again, if chicken fingers is your jam, that's great. But no, yeah, that's one of the things you and I've talked about Virgin, and I've not been on a celebrity cruise. Now my interest is more than peaked, and I would like to go. You've been on one and showed me some of the videos, and you speak so highly of it. But that's Virgin. I mean, Virgin is not. There's no trough. Everything is. I mean, the food is spectacular. Right, it's spectacular and always available in abundance. But it's not the trough. Sorry, continue. I apologize.
No, I think that's what I was going for. Is it's like, I love the food on Virgin. So I'm now deeply in love with the food on Celebrity. And every restaurant, and there were a number of them. So we had enough specialty restaurants to go to one every night and not repeat.
Nice.
Some of them were open for lunch, some weren't. And I went to the buffet twice. Once when the group was just struggling to get itself organized, I was like, I'm going to get some breakfast pie.
Right. Well, and they have a real use. I mean, I kind of feel like the buffet, or like on Virgin, the galley, which is the world's coolest food court, whatever. Those are necessary sometimes. Maybe you're going ashore and you just need a quick breakfast, and you don't have the time or the inclination to go sit in a restaurant, and you just want, some eggs and bacon or whatever, and you want to get off the boat. Then you've got that. Or if it's, the middle of the night and you drank a little bit too much and you need a burger, you go grab a burger. Those are incredibly useful. They just, I'm like you. I prefer the more high-end stuff.
So the thing that finally dawned on me on the Beyond is this way the buffet is set up is much like the newer Royal Caribbean ships.
Okay.
Island with food that you can wander around,
Okay.
Thematic approach. Things are closed, it's post lunch, but it is a large space. Choices. Things look really tasty when you're out here. Different cuisines, different foods. Got some Korean there today. Got our favorites here and there. Sorry, Chuck, you're going to have to do some editing on this one where you can blur out faces maybe, I don't know, so you don't get anybody in trouble. But some Indian style, lots of great food. I might head back over to this one area that has this ham and something different. I really don't need any more food today, but one can never turn down a little something. I think I might just have to dig into this one here, because that looks so cheesy and so. Right. So I think I'll use some footage. You'll probably be queuing in here somewhere. The buffet itself was a sight to behold.
red one, red. Backline, red.
I mean, just
It looks
abundant for one, but absolutely beautifully executed. And to watch the number of people come out and set that up, and we're talking like crowd, right? And they work hard. And there's 3 or 5 guys that just walk around and check everything is right. The preparers themselves are taking photos to make sure they're getting it right. It's absolutely gorgeous. And what I loved and was surprised at is it stays gorgeous through the whole serving. It doesn't get that, oh my God, people have been here look, like
right.
one poor shrimp hanging off the edge of something,
I know what you're talking about. Yes. That's fantastic.
And it was so many choices. I mean, I don't eat a lot anymore. It's hard to believe. I don't like eating the buffet a lot, but if the food's good, I will go back. So I make a couple of passes after having the first try. But Asian food, Mexican food, although I hate to say it, when a chef says Latin style food they put off fajitas, they're really missing the mark somewhere. All kinds of pastas, custom made stuff stations, great salads. The cheese setup was insane. Just so much cheese. Amazing desserts. And I always find that's where they miss the mark too, right? It's like, oh yeah, we need to make a dessert. So let's just make 100 of these look like something and they'll just taste like, but they actually have good desserts. Seating was never a problem. Sometimes you go to a buffet and you can't find a seat to save your soul. So it was an overall food experience. The restaurants, the Eden restaurant, which is on the, after the ship, has this big glass windows that look out, 3-story tall atrium-ish kind of thing. Just beautiful. The food there is amazing. You can watch it be cooked. It's an open kitchen concept. And it's very heavily Middle Eastern, South Indian Eastern type of thing food. Resume. A very nice mix of styles at Eden. And it's just a very elegant experience. It's a little pricey on the upcharge. We had all those restaurants included, which was what I'll talk about at the end about why this price works. They have a beautiful steakhouse. I think steakhouses are steakhouse, but this one was good. I had a filet mignon that melted in your mouth. Crazy good. And the service was amazing. The French restaurant that was called Le Voyage, very elegant, very risky, kind of French, very fancy food and very tasty. Raw and Phi, which is their sushi / Asian inspired restaurant. We went there for lunch a few times. It's great food. I know what else it was. I want to say there's one other, but it doesn't matter. All the restaurants, we went to all of them. Oh yes, we went on to the top deck, an outside eating experience, which I always worry about because if it's hot, if it's muggy, the last thing I want to do is sit outside and eat. I want to stay cold. But it was a beautiful because you can see everything. You're up on top of the ship. It's not windy because of the way they built it. So it was sort of a nice outdoor eating experience. They did great burgers and things like that. Food was great. The butler always had something in our room when we came back. And my favorite was the chocolate chip pecan cookies that were plate size. And they were always in the room when we got back. And you could not find those cookies anywhere else on the ship. So this is like their special offer.
Nice.
And then, of course, we had drinks, which is funny. None of us drank much outside the room. And I think because everything was included, we never thought about it. We were morning in cocktail every night, but we weren't chasing the bars down like normal.
Right.
So I guess I'm in my throat. So, right.
Well, it sounds like a whole different, sounds like cruising.
Yeah, it is. It probably, there's, like they said, this is considered premium brand cruising, right? So that means more service to customer ratio. It means better qualities. They're just better product in the design, better materials, right? So, the next thing is I'm going to have to go up to one of the premium, ultra premium ships at some point, right? The Vikings and the Regis and all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't entice me so much. And for a ship that held 3,500 passengers, first 2 days, again, we didn't see anybody. Wow. It was really strange. But it has that design that I love. You've got nooks and crannies and seating and places to go. where you disappear and no one's going to even know you're there. So the Eden also has a walkway that's on an incline around it. And they have seats there, so you can just sit and look out the back of the ship inside. Outside, tons of places just to go, oh, let's go sit over here for a while, not to see the people. You can watch, but they're not in your way.
Right.
And then just overall, everything was really pretty. So in regards to the cruise itself, so this was a 7-day cruise out of Miami, round trip. So we were to do Miami, Coco Cay, a day at sea, Bimini, then Turks and Caicos, a day at sea and home, right? That was well, Hurricane Aaron was blowing through, right? And we didn't feel any impact. We'll tell you that the funniest thing, Chuck, you'll ever experience is the trip from Miami to Coco Cay. They probably did about 4 knots the whole way. It's only 45.9 nautical miles away.
Oh, God.
It was like, we pull out of the port, we get out of the ocean.
Some going downhill.
And Celebrity Beyond just had propulsion issues a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
I was sitting there going, okay, is this meant to be this slow? Why are we going so slow? But it meant for a beautiful experience because we just could sit without noise, right? It was like quiet in the ocean.
Sure,
but unfortunately, we couldn't port at Coco Cay, which if you're going to miss something, miss the private island, right? That's how I look at it.
Right.
Wouldn't have been a perfect day at Coco Cay if we hadn't made it because we had to have a passenger taken off the ship for being sick. So we ended up having to head back to Fort Lauderdale area, wait for the Broward County Sheriff to come out and take someone off the ship and turn back around. If we looked at the map of how we've been traveling, like, I always said I would go on a cruise that just went out and circled around. Well, maybe not so much. So we had an extra sea day, which was nice. And I love sea days. A couple more days to take advantage of the suite and its offerings. And Bimini, we've been to before. Now, what was interesting is going to Bimini when Virgin's not there. It's a Sioux Celebrity. They use the same beach club.
Okay.
So it's Resort World's beach club, I now know. It's not Virgin's beach club, although they do a great job of overbranding it.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people asking us what we thought of going to that resort. Of course, we told them, get a golf cart and go to the other end of the island and snorkel on your own. And a lot of people did. But it was nice to be there again. Just once you're familiar with the place, you can go right to what you want to do, right? We didn't have an excursion. We weren't going to go just join the pool party at the club, right? The girls all snorkeled and saw a lot of pretty fishes all around the one tip of the island we docked on. Then the next day was Turks and Caicos, right? Which I think I've been to, but I couldn't remember. It didn't feel that familiar. Very tiny little, island that we landed at. Turks and Caicos is basically a bunch of small islands. And where we landed was a bunch of private beaches and all that kind of stuff. So in Bimini, we did a snorkeling excursion. And we went out probably an hour outside the city to a beach. All these resorts right on the rugged rough mountaintops and such. Beautiful place to snorkel, big coral reef there that is being protected. So that was fun. And the guys who led that were cool because they brought food for the fish. So once everybody's out snorkeling, they start, chumming the waters. The next thing you know, people come up and fish are coming up in people's faces because they've got the landed on them. So I was just swimming along. All of a sudden, I had like all these fish head joined. What? I didn't realize it had come in above me. So then, beautiful warm waters, beautiful. On to Turks and Caicos. We just went and walked around. The girls went off on another snorkeling adventure. I had cut my foot a little bit on the night before. It was just one. I'm not going to risk it. I don't need any problems. And I think it was good to have a little break. They went off at it. They came back and said the best snorkeling adventure they ever had. I was like, really? Better than Martinique? Okay. So I'm glad they did it. Videos of the young lady dancing up on the hull of the ship, like somebody, in charge. She looked great. They came home. They were all happy and fun, which I think was a good thing they needed. And then it was back to home. So the funny thing was that we also had a call during the middle of our last night that we needed a blood transfusion for somebody if anybody had this blood. And if not, they were going to just find a nearby ship where they could get somebody. I'm like, that's twice on the same ship,
Wow.
So I don't know what's going on when that kind of stuff happens that much. I mean, I've been on plenty of ships where someone's died and something happens. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So, I've too. I've had 2 deaths. One on my Carnival Panama Canal trip where, I heard the call and then found out the guy was 3 doors down from me on my deck. Because I wondered what all the commotion was. And in the middle of the night around 4 a.m., something comes up to the ship and my room is vibrating. Okay, it's ET. He's out there looking for me. But it was just a big helicopter and a boat that came to take him away. And they took the whole family off. I mean, I guess you're 3 days into a cruise. You probably don't want to keep cruising if you just lost a loved one, right?
Yeah, no, it's like, we're sending dad's bodies back.
Just go on without me.
All right, we'll send Dad's body back to Miami. But man, we have a really cool excursion tomorrow.
Well, we had to pull up near a port for somebody to take them off. And the other was, I was on a Royal Caribbean cruise a long time ago. Yeah. And so we had one in on Royal Caribbean when I was doing the Eastern Caribbean months. And the guy jumped and I knew him actually. Yeah. And he was with his partner and nobody could figure it out. He used to be part of the flagging community. Now, we've talked about this. You've seen the video.
Yeah. By the way, I have not seen that video. I cannot find it, but
That's
I
good.
tried.
So, yeah, he just decided he left a note and the cameras caught him and that's how they knew. And then we had to circle and search for the body, that kind of thing. And nothing like a 4 a.m. wake up call on the third night in with a big party going on. And some of us had just gone to bed. But yeah, it's sad, but it happens. And, hey, folks, if you want to take and stuff, don't do it on a cruise. It's big stuff. You want the news headlines, sure. But you do disrupt everybody else's life if you're going to take and do suicide. And if you need help, contact a suicide prevention center, get some help. There's so much out there that can be done for you. All right. Well, we just turned that into a strange place. So let's see. We talked about the suite, the food. So let's talk a little bit about pricing and why this works.
Well, before you go there, talk about entertainment, if you would.
Oh, I forgot that was the best part. Now, Celebrity has a beautiful, beautiful showroom, right? It's wrapped with LED screens and projection mapping, so they don't have to build everything if they don't want to.
Right.
Circle in the round concept, where even the floor has two rotating parts and parts that go up and down so they can showcase folks. Then a big space with great sight lines. So I did look forward to actually going to a show. I went to their production show, big Broadway production, right? So it was all the big hits from the West End in New York. So well done. And one of my favorite things is they did this kind of superimposing of one of the members of, say, a cast of a show that sang the song, and then the person on the stage would sing with them, which is not easy technology. It's sort of like when Natalie King did that with her father. Right? That was a breakthrough, right? To be able to get things up. Well, nowadays, obviously easier, but they could put the real star on the screen with some fake lighting hitting her. And then the star on the stage was down there singing too, and they harmonized. But the production numbers were great. They did a whole bunch of Hamilton stuff, which I didn't record. And I do have permission to use those videos. They said we could please post them and share them through all of our media. So we'll put that and there'll be some videos for you to see. But beautiful space, great sound, which sometimes you don't know if you're going to get a good seat. And because we're a suite, you get reserved seating. You have a special area just for folks in the retreat, which is like dead center, top floor. It gets all got the stage.
Nice.
You're worth those people.
I got you. Now, did they show movies on board?
Yes. In fact, they have two places. So they were doing movies in that theater. So we walked into Thunderbolts playing one day, which I haven't seen yet. So we didn't stay because we weren't really in a movie mode.
Did they play
one of the things that the Beyond has, like the Apex, the whole Edge class, is there's an area up above called the Garden Roof Deck, which is tons of live plants. Sometimes there's grass. And the area is very interesting design. There's different areas to sit that are higher and lower. There's an area where they can buy pickleball during the day, but they will play movies up there at night. And so you get an outdoor movie experience, right?
Did they play Xanadu?
No, I put my request in and Captain K has still been there. God love you, Captain K. I wish you were there. You would have given us a Captain Leonardo, who is a very nice gentleman.
Very cool.
Likes his old school films, I guess. It seems like they played a lot of old school. So yeah, there's just entertainment everywhere you go. There's the bar in the center of the ship that is their main bar. Does a big show with cocktailing every couple hours where they just toss bottles. I think we saw some bartender rack up like 8 of those cups and then pour across. Of course, everybody watches and applauds.
Right.
And then one of the activities you could just suddenly show up and play, so.
That's very cool. Well, thank you I was just, we had gone over everything. You were getting ready to get at a price. And I'm like, kind of want to know about the entertainment because that always.
Yeah. And it's funny. I used to make entertainment a big part of why I'd want to cruise. I've sort of lessened it over the time because usually by the time the show comes on, I'm ready for bed. A lot of sun, a lot of fresh air.
Well, I'm funny. I wouldn't. Okay. I'm not going to say I never would, but it's never on my radar to go on a ship specifically because of the entertainment. But I have found the first couple of cruises we went on, for whatever reason, and I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago, I didn't partake of the entertainment, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what my mental block was that it didn't matter to me. But now when I go, it's like my wife and I partake of, not every night. We're not I'm in the same boat you are. I'm not out till 2 a.m. Hell no. But, my wife and I've gotten into going to see the comedians or going to see a show, or I like a cruise that has good entertainment that I can partake of, but I don't necessarily go, ooh, who's got the best entertainment, anyone.
Sure. And I agree with that. I think, what's funny is, I remember I've told you, we have gotten into this habit of we eat early
Hmm.
and then we tend to go back to the room and at 8:30 we're in bed watching a movie, right? It's just sort of become the way we go. Well, this cruise, everybody decided to stay up later. So we were usually up till 11 or 12, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So that was fun, actually, because I think there is a lot to be said about enjoying the nightlife on a cruise ship.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
exciting. There's a bunch of people who don't do anything but go out at night.
Well,
So
the other thing about it is going clubbing, and I am far too old to go clubbing nowadays, but I do know from my son who's 28 and all that, it can be a dangerous thing. I mean, there can be an element of danger to it. But if you're on a cruise ship at a party, the chances of danger are so slim that you're right. It's this fake, not fake. It's not fake. The feeling is
you
that,
know the feeling.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. That was what I was trying to say so eloquently. But yeah, it's like I think of Scarlet Night. My wife and I were the last Scarlet Night, and the upper deck is completely full, and people are dancing and having a ball and drinking, and it never once crossed my mind that somebody was going to do anything stupid. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just so self-contained. It makes that more pleasurable to me.
Yeah, and I think, I just always feel like when I went on a cruise, and I'm even the gay cruises, right? It was the one place where everybody as a community came together, didn't care what tribe you were part of.
Right.
You smiled, you said hello, and you made new friends. And you may not have made that same friend in your own hometown, right? And I
Right.
think cruises in general you're there because you're happy. You're
Mhm.
there because you want to be there. You're there because you're having fun and you know what you're doing. You know why you're there, right? Basically, it's all part of an equation. So it's much easier to walk around and just smile at people and say hi, right?
Right. Well, and you're
I
also
remember
talking
getting
about
off the ship the first couple times, you get back to your neighborhood, you're like, nobody looks up. Nobody's always like, yeah. And then I'm like, yeah, we're walking.
and this is going to sound vaguely elitist, but I don't mean it this way. You're also with a group of people who are spending a decent chunk of money, and most people are not going to spend 4 or 5 grand on a vacation to act stupid. And
Right.
like you said, and nothing against local clubs and all that. I did that when I was younger and the whole thing. But you're also not going to be at a party on a ship and someone walk in off the street with ill intent. You know what I mean? Which can happen. I mean, which can happen in a club anytime, but on a ship, you're right. Everyone's sort of got the same mentality of, I spent a crap ton of money. I don't want anyone to act foolish because I want to enjoy my time.
Absolutely. And I think this is also where you look at your number of days and your itineraries. If you go
Right.
on a 3, 4, or maybe even 5-night cruise, 3s and 4s are booze cruises. Let's be honest. Nobody gets on a ship for 3 or 4 days because they want to see the destinations, because you're not
Correct.
going anywhere but the Bahamas
Right.
or something like that. And the intention is for the bridezilla parties and the groomzilla parties to get on and just get shit faced drunk.
Lots of rum drinks.
So, I have put myself on a couple of those and you just say, why did I do this?
Yeah.
But, the 7-night cruises for sure, you're going to always see,
Mhm.
right? So Celebrity did not disappoint. That's my second Celebrity cruise now. That's 2 this year as well, because I did Alaska in May. And I will say that they've definitely won a good, solid next to best spot for me. Cruising on Virgin will probably hold best for a while. But I certainly encourage folks who are looking for a little more elevated experience. You want your money to feel like it went somewhere. Celebrity's the place to go.
Now, I derailed you with the entertainment. You were getting ready to talk about price.
Okay, so let's talk about price. Let me break it down.
Break it down.
Can you give me a beat? All right, I'm going to do my best non-Janet Jackson impersonation. So breaking it down price-wise, this cruise on the books, if you didn't have anybody to work for you, didn't have anything, it was around 50 grand for the room.
How much?
7 nights, 4 people, 50 grand. That's what it would be rack rate. Okay. So if you're paying rack rate, I would tell you that you got a problem or you just don't care, because there's always a way to get a better rate. Well, we cut that price almost in half. So if you look at 7 nights, 4 people, it ended up being better than actually 2 people on a balcony cabin.
Nice.
And then if you factor in that all your specialty dining is included, all your drinks are included, all your Wi-Fi is included, all these things, you real quickly can make the math to say, well, why am I not booking in a suite? So as our customers maybe, and as our friends and clients here, when you are ready to book, have us run the numbers for you. Because if you can afford a $1,000 balcony cabin, you probably can afford a suite class cabin, where even up to that level, often you find families traveling in those kind of suites, right? Because they sleep. This is nice. You have 2 full bedrooms. That's not normal. For those of you who've thought about suite travel, even on Celebrity's Best, you don't always get 2 bedrooms. You might get 2 levels, but not private bedrooms. I'm talking doors closed. You don't hear each other, right? So
That's fantastic.
it's definitely worth considering. And I would say the pricing is easy to work out. Well, Sam, best pricing you can do. Couldn't beat it. Happy customer going out of it. It was a strange place to be. This is my first customer and salesperson suite. So I'm happy to have been in on it. I thank Vanessa for inviting me. I was great having time with her sister Charlotte and her niece Zara. I'm giving them their shout outs. So Zara can tell all her friends she was on a cruise with me, so someday I might be.
And that's worth the whole experience.
I mean, she's going to be more famous than me more time. She likes her social media.
Right. Well, she was on it with a famous podcaster.
Yeah. Great week. Good times. The hurricane was a threat. Did not worry about it at all. Good. We had warp seas going back in the last day where we were catching the back end of the storm, but only must have just been the way the waves are coming to the ship, because there was a little bit like more side to side rocking than normal. And normally they don't get that. But beautiful experience. Even getting off the butler takes you everywhere. Did I mention that? The butler? We had a butler. Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned the butler.
When it's time for your dinner, he comes and walks you to the restaurant. When it's time for your show, he comes and walks you to the show. When it's time to get off the ship, he walks you to your embarkation for your journey.
That's crazy.
It's a life you never live permanently, but
Right. Well, folks, Jim, for those of you just joining us, and hopefully you're not just joining us at this point, we're getting ready to wrap up, but please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, accost strangers on the street, help us get these numbers up. Jim, my guess is, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you and I've talked about this before. I guess watching those 3 folks be so happy was the whole high point of the trip. And I actually got a text last night from someone I've talked about, the young couple that was going to Italy and Greece. And he texted me, he's like, Venice is amazing so far, and sent me 3 pictures. So, again, I smiled the entire evening. My wife was laughing at me. She goes, you were so happy. I'm like, they're enjoying it. They spent a lot of money. This is their honeymoon. He's a friend of mine. He's a former coworker. And I'm like, these are good kids. And I wanted them to have a good situation or a good vacation, and say they're one day in and already all smiles. So that's the reason we do this. Yeah.
As a travel advisor, you could ask for nothing more than just a wow, right? They enjoy it.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love. First day, just watching their eyes, their body language as they were going around. And for someone to actually say to me, well, you outdid yourself. I don't think, no, I did what I'm supposed to do. I met your expectations and exceeded them, right?
Right.
So that's how we treat our customers. They're our families, the people we care about. We're their guardian angels for travel. So that's why you need to trust us. So, hey, Little Bird tells me that our next episode, now, I do apologize because we couldn't get these things out faster, but you didn't know that probably anyways. But I did hear a Little Birdie say to me that we're going to Scotland next. Is that true, Chuck?
It is very true. We are going to Scotland, and I could not be more excited.
So a little foreshadowing, our next episode is all Scotland, all Chuck. I'm going to sit back and listen. I know some of you are probably going, really? Can you do it, Jim? Can you keep shut up? But I will give it a shot. I promise you. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining us today. And if you're new here, thank you for being here. We are Life in the Baggage Claim. We are a weekly, when we make it, podcast. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and every other potential podcasting platform you can imagine. We have a website at Life in the Baggage Claim. And we want to make sure we thank you and ask you to like us. Please like us. God, somebody's got to like us. Subscribe. There's at least 42 of you who've done that now. So
Woo!
We would love to see that number double. Well, you know what? So YouTube's algorithms, like you break 100 something up and you break 1,000 something up. We're doing a great job. You are all doing a great job at getting this exposure. And we would love you to share us with your friends. I mean, share the video podcasting with your friends. I don't think Chuck's shareable. I think it's not something we can do. And of course, reach out to us. We'd love to get you on your next dream adventure vacation and have you come back telling stories about how amazing it was and what you did, and your friends will be jelly for it.
Absolutely. So thank you, folks. Talk to you next time.